Welcome to Real Talk with Father John. This is Father John Higgins, your host. I am a Catholic priest in ministry as a pastor of a large parish near Los Angeles. We discuss Catholic topics and invite you to participate by praying with us now. Let's bow our heads for a moment in silent prayer. And now we say together, glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Blessings to all our listeners today, especially those who are in need of our prayers and God's mercy and love. I'll be right here on the air every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Don't let the
Welcome back to Real Talk with Father John. I have my guest this evening is my buddy Joe Manzo. We've been friends for many years. This evening we're going to be talking about education. I taught high school for 3 years, which means about a tenth as long as Joe. How long have you been teaching?
I got my teaching credential in 1981.
So yeah, I taught for 3 years and he's taught for 32 years.
32 years,
So,
well, off and on.
Off and on. We're going to be talking about Catholic education in general, but most importantly, the topic this evening that we wanted to cover has been in the news a lot, especially in Catholic circles, about Common Core education. Joe and I have known each other for many years, but I thought I'd ask him first to give you kind of a background on himself. Joe is a Cuban American.
That's right.
Does he look Cuban to you? What does a Cuban look like?
Oh, no, that's a terrible question. Cubans are like Americans.
I know.
It's a nationality, it's not an ethnic group.
It's not an ethnic group.
So we come from all different parts of the world, but mostly about 50% are European descent.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a lot of Afro-Cubans, I guess
Afro-Cubans, yeah.
African Cubans. And everything else in between.
Everything else in between. I've had Cuban food lots of times. You guys have a dish called, or not a dish, but a food called bistec empanizada.
That's right.
It's the same thing as German or Austrian schnitzel. It's exactly the same thing.
Delicious.
It's delicious stuff.
I'm sure the Cuban one is more spicy and tasty than the German one.
I don't know. I've tasted both. They taste about the same. And in America, it's called chicken fried steak, but without the gravy.
But it's not chicken, it's beef.
Oh, it's beef. Yeah, it's beef fried, chicken fried beef.
Not chicken fried.
Yeah, it's not
just
chicken.
breaded.
It's breaded beef,
like
yeah.
the chicken.
Breaded fried steak.
It's delicious.
Anyhow, what have you been doing these past 30 years? Well, first, how did you get here from Cuba?
Oh, okay.
That's an interesting story.
It's an very interesting story. We immigrated in 1962. I was 7 years old, just barely turned 7, and my parents sent my brother and me over without them, and they sent us over first, and then we stayed with a family with our uncle who had already settled in Miami. But it was through a special program which later was called Operation Peter Pan.
Uh-huh.
And what it was sponsored by the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church was disseminating information to the Catholic families, very secretively, of course, to inform them that the new regime, the new communist regime, was going to indoctrinate the children and turn them against their parents. In effect, they were going to make the children into informants for the families, because if you were practicing some counter-revolutionary activities, such as buying food illegally or non-ration food or anything like that, that was their way of finding out who was breaking the law. And so, and that was really what was going on. That was
right.
really, I remember being in first grade in Cuba and having the indoctrination going on. And
wow.
And we had to, as a 7-year-old, you had to, your parents told you, don't ever say this and don't ever say that, and you had to keep secrets.
Wow.
It's really hard to imagine a 7-year-old having to do that. But anyway, they were so brave in making that decision. Imagine having to send your children over at 7. My brother was 10. And not knowing when you were going to reunite with them.
Right.
And so
wow.
we were under, a lot of parents sent their kids over and sent them over to stay in Catholic orphanages and things like that. Luckily, we had my uncle who was already settled, so we stayed at their family along with 12 other
Other
cousins.
children,
Yeah.
cousins in one house.
It was fun.
How many bedrooms in the house, or do you remember?
There was a boys' bedroom and a girls' bedroom, and we all piled into those rooms. And then the parents' bed, the adults' bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds
And then 6 months later, my parents we were reunited with our parents, and then a month after that, all flights stopped.
Wow.
It could have been a much longer period.
You could have
of time.
been a Cuban national at this point if you hadn't gotten out, if your parents hadn't gotten out.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So I've been in the United States since 1962.
1962. Yeah. Wow. Well, I met Joe many years ago at a little place called Cerritos Junior College. It's a I guess they call it a city college now, don't they?
Yeah,
Community
college.
Community college. It's a 2-year college in Norwalk, next to Cerritos. It's actually not in Cerritos. It's down the road here, and we were in the same fraternity together, Sigma Phi fraternity. And you had to keep secrets there too, and we still do. You can't tell anything that I used to do in those days.
Yeah, I promise.
And I won't tell anything you did either.
It's a deal.
That was back when we were kids. What have you been up to these last 30 years? We knew each other back in was it the 70s? Yeah, the early 70s.
Those were
back
fun days.
Before disco.
Those were fun days. I have to tell one story about you. One of the traditions in the fraternity was that one of the new what we called pledges that were coming into the fraternity had to marry a mock wedding with one of the girls that was going into a sorority, and I was selected to be the groom, and Father John was the priest at the ceremony. He was not a priest yet. I don't even know if he had decided to become a priest.
I had no clue I was even going to go in the seminary at that point. Yeah.
That was a kind of providential, I guess.
It was kind of prophetic, providential. I don't know. But are you still married to her?
No.
No, it lasted, what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, but we used to call each other endearments and stuff like that forever.
Yeah. Wow. I kind of remember that. That was a long time ago. There were a lot of things we did, including making the pledges eat onions and all sorts of crazy things.
Yes.
So that was just one of the crazy things we did. The last 30 years you've been teaching in well, before that, when did you get married? Married?
No.
Really married?
Oh,
yeah.
Really married.
Yeah, married in reality.
In 1996.
In 96.
Yeah, May 18th, if my wife is watching.
Your wife is watching. And you've got a little boy.
And we have a little boy, 14 years old. His name is Josh.
Okay. And how did you get into education?
I've always had a vocation to be a teacher. I guess it was an early influence by one of my own teachers, Mrs. Booth, dear Mrs. Booth.
Is she still alive?
No.
No, she passed.
But it's just something that I think it was something I always wanted to do, and then I had all kinds of other things that I wanted to do, especially in college. I think I changed majors 3 times, but eventually I found what I wanted to do. I had a job as a noon aide, and I really just remembered how much I loved just the whole idea of educating children, and so I decided to make that my career, although it didn't last for long. I realized in 1980, that the salaries believe it or not, I lived on a $12,000 a year salary back then.
Oh my gosh.
So then I even though it was my dream to do that, I couldn't live on that anyway. So my parents had a clothing business, and they were doing very well and going on vacations and buying new cars, and I quit teaching and went into the garment industry for 22 years. And then about 1998, after I got married, I started volunteering at my Catholic parish as a catechist, and I really connected with that whole idea of teaching children, and then I just had to go back to teaching. So I'm so glad I did.
Okay. We're about to go on a break. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit about your family life and your Catholic faith, and then what you're doing now in education. So we're going to be talking, like I said, about Common Core, a little overview of that, and then the differences between Common Core a little bit and traditional, or what I would call traditional educational means. So please come back. We'll be back in a few moments after our commercial break. God bless.
Don't let the opportunity of a lifetime pass you by. We at Today's Realty and Loans are here to make your dreams become a reality. Rates are at a record low. Now is the time to act. Call us at 562-862-0777. Free pre-approvals and credit report when you mention Father John. Today's Realty and Loans is here to simplify the buying and selling process. Please call us at 562-862-0777. And don't forget to ask about our no closing cost loans. Lo podemos ayudar en su propio idioma para compra y venta de propiedades y refinanciamiento.
Juice, I heard you were at a party the other day and the DJ completely destroyed the party.
That's right, Pac-Man. I was checking out his skills. They were not there. Didn't know how to MC. Lighting sucked. And guess what? There was cables showing everywhere. What's up with that?
You know what, man? Cable management is really important. And when a DJ can't talk on the mic, what's the point? A DJ really has to know how to rock the party.
He needs to MC. He needs to take control of the party. So, folks, listen closely. If you're in the market for a DJ, if you have an upcoming wedding, quinceañera, birthday party, any kind of an event where the DJ will make the difference, make sure to check us out. ESCEvents.com.
Computer repair done right. Have a virus? Is your computer too slow? Call us at 562-381-2702. Let our team handle it. We can get your computer back to normal, and with our $19.99 optimization package, your computer will be better than ever. Call 562-381-2702 or visit our website, PCSmartTeam.com.
Poor Ben is only 20 years old, but has the spine of a 7-year-old man. Ben tried medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, and even other chiropractors. Now, Ben, after only 6 weeks of care, is almost pain-free and is going back to the gym. A chiropractor is like a surgeon. You need to research and get references to see if they have a good set of hands. At the chiropractor office of Dr. Mariscal, we cater to everyone. And remember, by appointment or by chance, we're always glad to see you back. To set up an appointment, go to drmariscal.com.
Hey, Juice, when was the last time you went swimming at a friend's house?
Just the other day. Why, what's up?
Well, the other day I went to my friend's house to go swimming, but it was all green, man.
Oh, I know exactly what you need. You need to go talk to my friend Chris Anderson over at Chris Anderson Pool and Spa. He can help you out with algae, filter problems, weekly cleanings, pretty much anything to do with pools and spas.
What's that number, bro?
Give him a call at 310-500-7439. Again, the number is 310-500-7439. Hey, Pac-Man, I've got a big problem. This weekend is my brother's prom, but we can't afford to buy him a tux.
What you need to do is go see my friend over at Downey Rent-A-Tux. They've got great deals on a huge variety of outfits. Anytime I DJ a wedding or a quince, I go to Downey Rent-A-Tux and always get hooked up. So go check them out and mention EMX Radio and they'll hook you up too.
That sounds perfect. Where can I find them?
Go check them out at gotorentatox.com. That is rentatox.com.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Father John. I'm with my guest Joe tonight. We're talking about education, especially Common Core. Joe, you're teaching right now, and you have Common Core in your classroom. Could you give us just a brief description of what is Common Core education?
Sure. Common Core is really being introduced. It's being rolled out right now this year. Common Core is really a set of standards, and we haven't always had standards. Standards have been around since around the mid-90s, whereby teachers just can't pick up anything and teach whatever they want. They have certain standards, certain skills that have to be taught at every grade level for each of the subjects, and this gives the teacher the uniformity to be able to say that all through California, we are teaching this in this grade level. And so the standards were introduced state by state in the 90s, and each year they would add a new subject until finally around 2000, all the subjects had a set of standards. I came back to teaching in 2002, so and standards had already been implemented. And the standards also go along with the state testing that are so controversial as well. So it ensures that what the students are going to come up, what's going to come up for the students on the test has been taught at that grade level, because the standards are there and you have to teach based on the standards. Well, things have changed so much since 2000, from 2000 to the present day, that the standards that were developed in the 90s and the year 2000, and that I was introduced to and that I've been working with for so many years, are no longer relevant. To give you an example of that, when in the language arts standards, when I was teaching third grade, one of the questions on the test was, as far as like, where would you find this information? And then the four choices were a dictionary, a glossary, a reference book, or an encyclopedia. And you get where I'm going with that?
I get what you're talking about, yeah.
Well, we don't even use encyclopedias. The kids don't know what an encyclopedia is. So as a third grade teacher, that question was still on the test, and
Yes.
I still had to have a lesson to the students. See this, boys and girls? This is an encyclopedia. It is a set of books that's organized alphabetically and blah, blah, blah.
With
They were
different
never
topics.
going to use an encyclopedia.
Right.
Because now everything is on the internet. So the standards were outdated. And I even wrote a letter to the California Department of Education saying, please take this question off the test. It's not relevant. We don't use encyclopedias. I have to have a set of encyclopedias in my room just to teach it, to teach that they never use it. They said, we can't take the question off the test because it's still on the standards. Until the standards are changed, we cannot change that question.
Wow.
So in many ways, I'm glad that that the standards were changed, and it's tough. It's tough for teachers to change their practice. And this is probably
yes.
the most challenging part of the Common Core, is that we have to change our practice. It's tough, but it's also necessary because the world changes.
Mm-hmm.
So now as I was saying before, the state standards were state by state. They were similar, but there were some differences. Well, now the Common Core, the reason why they're Common Core is because they're national. And the states don't have to adopt them. There are actually only 4 states that have not adopted the new Common Core standards, including, I don't know what they are, Texas and Virginia, I believe, is not a Common Core state.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just they just didn't want to do it, and they didn't have to do it. Sorry about that. So basically, there's advantages and disadvantages, of course. Common Core, the advantage is that now that the states all have the common standards, then the book publishers and people who put out websites and so forth, and that where teachers can use as a reference, don't have to address each state's standards. It's much easier for them to address the Common Core standards.
Right.
So, and there's, along with that, if a student moves from one state to the next, they have been instructed in the common standards, and so there's more continuity between states.
Right. So if you moved from
Anyway,
let's say some other state into California, in 11th grade, you studied what doctors do in a surgery room,
Yeah.
and everybody has already studied that, so you fit right in, and they have not studied things that you've not gotten.
Yeah.
So you move in and you've studied what everybody studied.
Right, and now
you still fit in.
Again, there's a difference between what you study and how you study, because when you mentioned what a doctor has done in a operating room, that would never be a standard, because that is a content area where the standards are really more a set of skills and a hierarchy of skills.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking the old way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of content.
Yeah, no.
Where you're talking about a set of skills. So give us an example of one of those set of skills.
Well, and you know what? I still learning the Common Core standards. I'm not going to be able to mention any Common Core standard by heart because I'm still learning them. But
Yeah.
I can mention a standard in the old language arts standards. For example, I used to teach elementary school, and in 4th grade, we had to teach figurative language, for example. And so, in fourth grade in California, we had to teach figurative language, which included metaphors, similes, personification, and hyperbole. That was a
Right.
fourth grade standard.
I've forgotten what a hyperbole is.
Hyperbole
but
is an exaggeration.
Oh, you got to be
Like when the teacher says, "I've told you 1,000,000 times not
Oh,
to do
okay,
that."
that's right. Yeah, 1,000,000 times.
That's
and you remind me of a Labrador retriever would be another one. Not a
Yeah,
hyperbole. That would be
a simile.
a simile, right?
Yeah. Oh no. Well, yeah. Anyway, so in fourth grade we were teaching that. So and then in fifth grade you would add imagery
Right.
as another figurative language, and in sixth grade you would add another one, and in seventh grade you would add irony, and all these elements
Right.
of literature. You know that a fourth grader is never going to getting a question about irony in the test.
Right.
He's only going to get questions about personification and the other
Okay.
ones I mentioned. So you make sure that the students know those and are able to identify them, and that's what the skills are. So you don't teach them a particular metaphor. You teach them how to recognize, how to identify a metaphor
Right, and you can use the examples that you want.
that you want.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I'm starting to get it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Common Core. That's why we're here. Can you tell us, for example, it seems to be the old method was more content, and this is how you teach. Is that correct?
Well, I'll tell you what the biggest difference between the old state standards and the new Common Core standards is. When they developed the Common Core standards, they started looking at, and the biggest complaint has, and everybody's heard this, is that kids are not ready. When they finish high school, they're just not, they're
Right.
not able to, they're not taught critical thinking. They are going into college and they're still taking remedial classes because they're not ready for college level
Right.
classes.
Right.
And they're not, and then employers were complaining because these students, they can't write, and
They can't, yeah. A lot of them can't.
so to address all of these different complaints, the Common Core standards started, and this is what I understand about it, is that they started with what skills do students need when they're in college to really be able to handle a college level class. And then they started working backwards from there. So if they need this in college, then what do they need to have in 12th grade?
Right.
And then what do they need to have in 11th grade? And they work backwards from the college level all the way down to kindergarten.
Okay.
And that's how the hierarchy was developed.
Right.
So,
So if a person is intending, let's say, to go out into the world and work, they should know how to pay something and get change back.
absolutely. I think that would be.
Yeah, it'd be a real simple thing.
Yeah.
But I've run into people in merchant stores or in fast food restaurants. You give them $2 and the bill is $1.72, and they don't know how to count back. They have to do it on the computer.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's learning how to do those simple kinds of day-to-day tasks without the aid of a computer, because there are sometimes when you don't have a computer in front of you. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare anymore. I've got my, we could always use our cell phone as a little computer.
Yeah.
But it's still good to know these things that, when you've got 5 bushels of corn and 5 of them burn up, you don't have any corn anymore, rather than, what is a bushel?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, was he the president before Obama? You know what it is, yeah. We're going to be taking a break in just a minute. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how do you see Common Core valuable in your classroom? You're just starting out with it.
Sure.
And how are you going to see that valuable in your classroom? And I've got a lot of questions here. It looks like we're not going to get to all of them, but we'll see what we can do. We're going to take a commercial break. God bless. We'll be right back.
Don't let the opportunity of a lifetime pass you by. We at Today's Realty and Loans are here to make your dreams become a reality. Rates are at a record low. Now is the time to act. Call us at 562-862-0777. Free pre-approvals and credit report when you mention Father John. Today's Realty and Loans is here to simplify the buying and selling process. Please call us at 562-862-0777. And don't forget to ask about our no closing cost loans. Lo podemos ayudar en su propio idioma para compra y venta de propiedades y refinanciamiento.
Juice, I heard you were at a party the other day and the DJ completely destroyed the party.
That's right, Pac-Man. I was checking out his skills. They were not there. Didn't know how to MC. Lighting sucked. And guess what? There was cables showing everywhere. What up with that?
You know what, man? Cable management is really important. And when a DJ can't talk on the mic, what's the point? A DJ really has to know how to rock the party.
He needs to MC. He needs to take control of the party. So, folks, listen closely. If you're in the market for a DJ, if you have an upcoming wedding, quinceañera, birthday party, any kind of an event where the DJ will make the difference, make sure to check us out. ESCEvents.com.
Computer repair done right. Have a virus? Is your computer too slow? Call us at 562-381-2702. Let our team handle it. We can get your computer back to normal, and with our $19.99 optimization package, your computer will be better than ever. Call 562-381-2702 or visit our website, pcsmartteam.com.
Poor Ben is only 20 years old, but has the spine of a 7-year-old man. Ben tried medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, and even other chiropractors. Now, Ben, after only 6 weeks of care, is almost pain-free and is going back to the gym. A chiropractor is like a surgeon. You need to research and get references to see if they have a good set of hands. At the chiropractor office of Dr. Mariscal, we cater to everyone. And remember, by appointment or by chance, we're always glad to see you back. To set up an appointment, go to drmariscal.com.
Hey, Juice, when was the last time you went swimming at a friend's house?
Just the other day. Why? What's up?
Well, the other day I went to my friend's house to go swimming, but it was all green, man.
Oh, I know exactly what you need. You need to go talk to my friend Chris Anderson over at Chris Anderson Pool and Spa. He can help you out with algae, filter problems, weekly cleanings, pretty much anything to do with pools and spas.
What's that number, bro?
Give him a call at 310-500-7439. Again, the number is 310-500-7439. Hey, Pac-Man, I've got a big problem. This weekend is my brother's prom, but we can't afford to buy him a tux.
What you need to do is go see my friend over at Downey Rent-A-Tux. They've got great deals on a huge variety of outfits. Anytime I DJ a wedding or a quince, I go to Downey Rent-A-Tux and always get hooked up. So go check them out and mention EMX Radio and they'll hook you up too.
That sounds perfect. Where can I find them?
Go check them out at go2rentatux.com. That is rentatux.com.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Father John. This is my friend Joe. He's a sixth grade teacher, and we're talking about Common Core education. How do you find Common Core valuable in your classroom?
Well, as I was explaining the differences between Common Core and the old standards or the what we're changing from, I see the biggest difference is that the Common Core is encouraging more critical thinking, and this is an area that was also criticized, that students just they're memorizing information, but they don't know how to think. And this was a legitimate complaint about the way that we were graduating our students. And so we're getting away from the rote memorization. To give you an example, the students typically up until now, teachers are going to have to change their practice, of course, but teachers are so used to handing the students a handout and then let's complete this handout. And that's not how the real world is. You have to think on your feet.
Right.
And so the students at the sixth grade level have been so accustomed to doing these handouts that when you give them a worksheet, all they want to do is they want to fill it out and they want to know what to put. What do I put? Are we going to grade?
Yeah, I remember those questions when
what
I taught.
do I put? And are we going to grade these? Because they want to know if they put the right thing. So, for example, today I had we were doing a Common Core lesson, which is on researching. And I'm just introducing the topic. The topic is prehistoric art. And so we went on a website, which is really how we do research nowadays. And we the students were looking at different examples of these prehistoric art that were found in the Chauvet caves in France. And so I gave them a set of like some types of text-dependent questions that they had to consider, but not necessarily answer. They were supposed to discuss them in their groups. And they were so worried about the answers that they had to put down. There was no critical thinking. And so
Right.
these students have not come up through the system of the Common Core. And that'll be years. That's going to be some years in the making after all of these students that started in kindergarten with the Common Core, and then they come to the 6th grade. We'll see, if this whole Common Core thing pans out. But right now, they are so just, robotically trying to fill out these answers and get the right answer,
But not remember the right answer.
Well, they don't. It's not necessarily the intelligent skill is how to do research, how to find
Right.
answers, how
How to
to
find them.
interpret, how to make inferences from what they are reading and seeing in photographs and things. That's the real skill, the critical thinking skill, not just memorizing, Chauvet Cave, France, 1992, and so
Right.
forth. That's not the important. That's not the important lesson. The content isn't the important thing. It's the how to interpret, how to think intelligently,
Right.
and make intelligent inferences.
When I was teaching, I would, of course, go through Catholic doctrine. I taught Catholic Church history and doctrine. And I would talk about the Trinity, and then I would talk about Mary, the Mother of God. And they would be writing notes, and, is this going to be on the test? And I'd say yes.
Right. And
Is
it's
this going to
always
be on the
good.
test? And I'd always say either yes or I'm not going to tell you. And sometimes when I said I'm not going to tell you, it would still be on the test. So they didn't know,
Oh, yeah.
everything's on the test.
Yeah.
So I would teach about the Trinity, and then I would teach about Mary, the Mother of God, and then I'd put a diagram on the board, of course, with the triangle, the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I would put Mary above that and describe how Mary gave birth to the Holy Trinity. And they'd be busy writing notes, and I'd say, do you believe this? And they'd go, what do you mean? And I'd say, do you believe that Mary gave birth to the Trinity? And they'd all sit there and go, well, is it going to be on the test? And I'd say... So I think that kind of thinking, Mary could not have given birth to the Trinity. That's critical thinking.
There you go.
And I'd say, listen, think. Could Mary have given birth to the Trinity? The Trinity is infinite. Mary's a human. And they go, oh, we didn't think. But that's what I want you to do in this class, is think. So it's kind of getting to that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, good.
And it's not just getting it through one lesson, but it's getting through it with a whole series of lessons, all the way starting with kindergarten.
Right. Right.
There's always going to be the rote memorization. You got to know your
Well, yeah.
multiplication tables. That's never going to go away. And you have to know some facts about history that
Right.
are just crucial, that are important to our society to know these.
Yeah, you have
facts.
to know that north is that direction and south is that direction,
Yeah.
east and west. But if you don't know that Texas is not west of California,
Yeah.
and I would ask kids, is Texas or California further west? And they'd say Texas, because that's where all the westerns are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they didn't know what west meant. They knew what direction it was, but they didn't know what it meant. And so it's getting to those kinds of things.
That whole question about is it going to be on the test? They are so they're so robotically trained to only memorize certain information, that they have
Right.
to memorize it, and then they regurgitate it during the test, and then they forget it as quickly as they
Right.
regurgitated it.
Right. So it's on the test, and the test lasts your whole life.
Yes. Yeah.
Last week we talked some about Catholic social justice with my friend Arnold, and we talked about Catholic social justice versus secular social justice. Is there a difference between Catholic education and Common Core education? And if so, what is it?
I can't answer I've never been a Catholic school teacher, so I can't address how the difference is, but I can tell you one thing, is that statistics prove that the goal of Common Core education is to get the students college and career ready.
Right.
And the Catholic schools are doing an outstanding job of that already.
Right, they are.
So in fact, I found some statistics here that say, for example, students from Catholic schools are graduating high schools at a rate of 84%.
Right.
So 84% of students that go to Catholic schools graduate high school, and they go on to I'm sorry, no, 84% of them go on to 4-year colleges.
Okay, I was thinking 84%
Are the
was
ones
probably
that
low.
go, no. Well, I don't want to read the whole paragraph, but the point is that Catholic schools are doing a fantastic job of preparing students for college. It may be because of the way they teach,
Right.
or it may be for other reasons. Who knows? I know that my experience is that when I have parents who are involved in my students' education, parents who
Right.
encourage them, parents who are actively involved in the school, who take an interest in the students' education, they always do better.
Right.
And I think that may have a big reason why the Catholic schools do so well, is that parents have to be involved in the
You're
students'
right, they do.
career. And they're paying money, and so they're going to make sure that the students.
Right.
So, the support of the parents is such an important factor in the success of students. It's just unmeasurable. So we don't know whether it's the methodology that they use in Catholic schools. Some students are going to succeed no matter what you
Right.
do in the classroom. And I think it's just mostly the support that they get. But the other thing is that the Catholic schools don't have to adopt the Common Core standards because they're private schools.
Right.
And I would sit back and wait and see how these Common Core standards
Right.
pan out first. Let's get some data and
Right.
see whether they
See if
really
it
are going
works.
to work. Sit back a few years. It may be that they work so well that the public will demand it, and then they're going to say, well, do you teach Common Core?
Right.
It could happen, and then you might have to encourage your teachers to start adopting some of these methods. Maybe some of the methods will work better than others, and you can pick and choose.
Right. I know when I visit classrooms now, I stopped teaching in, 85, I think it was my last year teaching in high school. Yeah. But I see a lot of that critical thinking thing already going on in Catholic classrooms. Mm-hmm. They're not just teaching, memorization, but I'll never forget walking into a discussion in a classroom about To Kill a Mockingbird in the 8th grade, and the racism and the trials and the emotional things that were going on. And the classroom, of course, is mixed with different races of people. Right. And it was a very, very good thing to sit and watch these kids come to their own conclusions based on what they'd read, not be told you have to think this way.
Exactly.
Yeah, and to watch the kids interact about it, and how they empathized with one another over this book, which is, it's not exactly a new book. Exactly. It's really old, and I remember reading it when I was a kid, and I've read it since. And it's in the movies. There's a movie about it too. But I think that critical thinking is essential to education, whereas rote memorization, although, like you said, we have to memorize things. Yeah, you got to know your Our Father. You got to know the Hail Mary. You got to know the Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed. You got to know Blessed be Father, for I have sinned. And you got to know how to do your act of contrition, although there's several different variations of those. That rote memorization isn't the essence of our faith.
Exactly.
It's those are the tools that we have in our lives, but they're not the essence of our faith. And I think that critical thinking is really important for us. There was another thing you pointed out here that you thought was really good to talk about. What was that?
Well, I was thinking about another example in my classroom. Not in my classroom, but as I study more about the Common Core, I'm learning about, for example, evidence-based claims is one of the topics that we are going to are emphasized in the language arts portion of the Common Core standards. And in the past, we were teaching, for example, persuasive writing,
right,
where you pick a thesis and then you persuade your audience to a certain viewpoint. Well, I've noticed from my reading that evidence-based claims are so much more useful in everyday life. For example, the way that this book, and I'm reading this book about how to teach this, you start with a crime scene, and then you see you see there's certain things that don't corroborate what the witnesses are saying.
Right.
Some things that contradict what the witnesses are saying. And you let the students examine the picture, and then they start seeing things that don't jive, that
Right.
don't make sense. And so they make a claim. The man fell down the stairs, but he's still holding on to the glass. How does that, typically, when a person falls down a set of stairs, they drop whatever they have in their hands and try to hold on.
Right.
So how could it be that he's still holding on tightly to this glass?
Right.
And so this is where one of the ways that it was like the old, do you remember taking logic?
Oh, yes.
The syllogisms.
Syllogisms and
in
all
college,
those,
yeah. So, the witness is not telling the truth. That would be your first premise.
Right.
And then your second premise would be your evidence. The body or the deceased body is holding onto the glass tightly, and then typically you don't hold on to anything in your hands because you're going to drop. So you find evidence,
Right.
and then you work back from the evidence to support
evidence.
your claim.
Right.
And this is the kind of thing that we're going to be teaching in 6th grade. I'm really excited about that.
Right.
I think the kids will be really college ready after that.
Right. I go out with the fire department and sometimes with the police department, and sometimes we'll look at a scene and the person is claiming, "Oh, my brother never does drugs." And you look around the room and there's a poster of Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah.
and there's bruises on the arm, and you're going, okay, you're saying your brother never uses drugs. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back. God bless.
Don't let the opportunity of a lifetime pass you by. We at Today's Realty and Loans are here to make your dreams become a reality. Rates are at a record low. Now is the time to act. Call us at 562-862-0777. Free pre-approvals and credit report when you mention Father John. Today's Realty and Loans is here to simplify the buying and selling process. Please call us at 562-862-0777. And don't forget to ask about our no closing cost loans. Lo podemos ayudar en su propio idioma para compra y venta de propiedades y refinanciamiento.
Juice, I heard you were at a party the other day and the DJ completely destroyed the party.
That's right, Pac-Man. I was checking out his skills. They were not there. Didn't know how to MC. Lighting sucked. And guess what? There was cables showing everywhere. What up with that?
You know what, man? Cable management is really important. And when a DJ can't talk on the mic, what's the point? A DJ really has to know how to rock the party.
He needs to MC. He needs to take control of the party. So, folks, listen closely. If you're in the market for a DJ, if you have an upcoming wedding, quinceañera, birthday party, any kind of an event where the DJ will make the difference, make sure to check us out. ESCEvents.com.
Computer repair done right. Have a virus? Is your computer too slow? Call us at 562-381-2702. Let our team handle it. We can get your computer back to normal, and with our $19.99 optimization package, your computer will be better than ever. Call 562-381-2702 or visit our website, PCSmartTeam.com.
Poor Ben is only 20 years old, but has the spine of a 7-year-old man. Ben tried medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, and even other chiropractors. Now, Ben, after only 6 weeks of care, is almost pain-free and is going back to the gym. A chiropractor is like a surgeon. You need to research and get references to see if they have a good set of hands. At the chiropractic office of Dr. Mariscal, we cater to everyone. And remember, by appointment or by chance, we're always glad to see you back. To set up an appointment, go to drmariscal.com.
Hey, Juice, when was the last time you went swimming at a friend's house?
Just the other day. Why? What's up?
Well, the other day I went to my friend's house to go swimming, but it was all green, man.
Oh, I know exactly what you need. You need to go talk to my friend Chris Anderson over at Chris Anderson Pool and Spa. He can help you out with algae, filter problems, weekly cleanings, pretty much anything to do with pools and spas.
What's that number, bro?
Give him a call at 310-500-7439. Again, the number is 310-500-7439. Hey, Pac-Man, I've got a big problem. This weekend is my brother's prom, but we can't afford to buy him a tux.
What you need to do is go see my friend over at Downey Rent-A-Tux. They've got great deals on a huge variety of outfits. Anytime I DJ a wedding or a quince, I go to Downey Rent-A-Tux and always get hooked up. So go check them out and mention EMX Radio and they'll hook you up too.
That sounds perfect. Where can I find them?
Go check them out at go2rentatux.com. That is go, the number 2, rentatux.com.
You can ask me that one too after.
All right, we're back. This is my friend Joe. We're talking about Common Core education. There are a lot of things that, a lot of people who have said negative things about Common Core. On my Facebook page, for example, I get postings, and I see postings on conservative websites and so forth about Common Core. What are some of the objections that you've heard about Common Core education, and how do you respond to that?
Well, the things that I've seen, and I've also seen them on Facebook, is usually have to do with content. For example, you hear about a story about a teacher using, some kind of propaganda piece, and they're using it to, maybe they're using it to teach one of the Common Core standards, and so the public at large still isn't very educated about what Common Core is. Most people are not. Even the teachers are just barely learning this.
Yeah.
So the people misinterpret, and they think that the Common Core dictates what we're going to be teaching, and they're afraid that the textbooks are going to become filled with
Radical secularism.
Radical secularism, which is kind of the belief that everybody's right. It's kind of a feel good, whatever you feel good, do it, or whatever you believe is right because it's what you believe. And that's a legitimate fear, but remember that the standards do not tell you what to teach. So if a teacher is a left-wing extremist, they're going to pick articles that follow their views, and just, I'm a very conservative thinker. I'm going to pick my conservative. I'm going to tend to pick articles that are conservative, and that's going to come through no matter what. I think that whether you're talking about the old standards or the new standards, the content is not what is dictated.
So let's say a teacher decides to use a piece on abortion in her classroom.
Exactly, yeah.
And the benefits to society of abortion.
Yes.
And so she does that in the classroom, and it's pretty indoctrinating. It's pretty one-way, slanted. What would parents do about that? They find their kids coming home, suddenly pro-choice, and what would, let's say, a Catholic parent do about that?
That's a great question. This has to do with the critical thinking. Now, if the students are taught true critical thinking and logical reasoning, they should be able to see where persuasion is being used or where propaganda is being used and not substantiated with facts.
Right.
And they should be able to take that and turn it around and say, yeah, but this is not substantiated with facts, or this claim, where's the evidence for this claim?
Right.
So that's where I think that that's where I'm excited about teaching Common Core, because I'm excited about using those skills myself. I have to tell you that I haven't used them since the college days, and I'm excited about teaching that to my students, being able to see through false arguments.
Right. There are a lot of false arguments presented, and lots of them are based on emotion rather than logical, critical thinking.
Absolutely.
And I hear these kinds of arguments. One of them is, well, you're a man, you shouldn't have anything to say about this.
Oh, yeah.
And that's certainly not logical. It's not critical thinking. It's just emotion-based stuff.
Oh, the same woman's gonna question why you didn't open the door for her. Sorry, now I'm gonna get attacked by women, but.
Or why are there only men priests?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
It's what people take the position that's convenient in many cases.
It's the convenient position.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think that's where we have to separate emotional arguments, which are what propaganda is,
right,
appealing to people's emotions, which isn't necessarily based on facts. So we have to learn how to separate those two.
Right. And I've been tempted myself to use emotion to convince people, and it may get people riled up, but it doesn't really work. It does not really work. And using the logical, not argument, but logical proof, logical evidence for what we believe as Catholics, what we believe is morally right, and even looking into areas of science and mathematics and those kinds of things. Emotion doesn't really get us to the truth. Emotion is all right, Emotion might get you to start thinking about logic, but it certainly does not get you to the truth. I can emotionally say, all dogs go to heaven, you know, and only my dog is going to go to heaven. I can prove that, right? So Common Core seems to give students and hopefully encourage parents to think logically about the content of what the children are learning. And it seems that you've had experiences in your classroom already with this that are very positive. And one of the evidential things that we talked about is that you have a Bible study in your classroom. You know? And it's a public school.
Yes.
And you have a Bible study in your classroom. How does that work? I thought that was, everybody would be up in arms about that. How does that work?
I have not had one complaint about that, and nothing but support.
And we're in California.
Yes.
Which is supposed to be the most liberal place in the world, except for maybe downtown New York City in Manhattan.
There are certain guidelines that I have to follow. For example, it has to be initiated by the students. The Bible study has to be initiated by the students under their freedom of speech and freedom of religion, right. So just as you would have any club initiated by students, they have a right to have a Bible club as well. And I didn't start the Bible club. It was started in an elementary classroom.
Okay.
And it was an elementary school teacher who founded that in our district. But we have several within our district in elementary school, and this is the first time in our district that we've had one in middle school. Because I was approached by the elementary school teacher, and she said, I wonder if you would be interested in helping this group of students, continue their Bible study as they go to middle school. And I thought, that's a fantastic idea, because I think they need it the most with that age,
Right.
Not only that, but I think that there's such a need to identify others as, members that believe the way you do.
Right.
There's in middle school is such a hard part of your life for children. Part growing up and trying to fit in and all that. And so I wanted them to have that opportunity to say this is okay. It's okay to believe in God and to believe in the Bible. Now, so the rules are that the students have to initiate it. And they also have to initiate the speakers. And I'm not I'm not the one that teaches the Bible in the classroom. There's a pastor, a local pastor who does, and he's there every week. We also have invited other pastors, other youth ministry ministers to speak. In fact, if you'd like to come.
Oh, that might be fun. Yeah. I haven't taught in a long time. I don't know if I teach so much as.
And we don't identify any denominations or anything. It's all about the Bible. We pray for each other, and we pray for Thanksgiving and all kinds of stuff. Very briefly, and the pastor's very engaging. He's funny.
Yeah.
He will bring up a life situation and then connect it with a story from the Bible, and it's a really short meeting. It's during lunchtime. Once a week, the kids bring their lunch into my classroom, and then he talks while they eat.
While they eat. And do they talk too?
And he always gets their participation.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. We have pizza parties.
Pizza parties. Oh my God.
Breaking bread.
Breaking bread. That's important.
Yeah.
Eating together.
Yeah.
I think that's part of our society. Is we, the best way to say I love you in any family is to put a plate of food in front of somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not the best way, but it's one of the best ways. We've talked a lot about Common Core and now bringing up this Bible study. How do you see your ministry, or how do you see what you do in teaching as a ministry? Because I know that you're a practicing Catholic. We don't have much longer. We've only got a couple of minutes, but this really is a ministry of taking what you know. How do you do that, or how do you see that?
It's a vocation. I love it, and it requires a lot of faith.
Mm-hmm.
God puts the right words into my mouth, I think, when I ask him to, or all the time, I guess. I know that when I decided to go back to teaching, I took a huge pay cut. And I was afraid that I was not going to survive on the lower pay as a teacher, but I've never had a financial problem since. So I know that God's given me His blessing.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming this evening. I know you lead a busy life. You left your wife and little boy at home this evening, and you're going to go right back.
Yeah.
Because you got things to do. I've got to run over and do some things myself. I'm going to go to the fire department this evening. And I don't know if everybody's been hearing the sirens. There's a lot of sirens out there tonight.
Oh, you're going to have a fun night.
Oh, yeah. It should be fun. It sounds like it's going to be busy out there. And they'll try to feed me something as usual. So that's always good. Yeah. So thanks for coming. Absolutely. And we're going to break for the evening. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week again at 6 p.m. We'll have another guest speaker, or another guest. Not a guest speaker, but a guest interview. And I hope you have a wonderful week. God bless, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't let the opportunity of a lifetime pass you by. We at today's Realty and Loans are here to make your dreams become a reality. Rates are at a record low. Now is the time to act. Call us at 562-862-0777. Free pre-approvals and credit report when you mention Father John. Today's Realty and Loans is here to simplify the buying and selling process. Please call us at 562-862-0777. And don't forget to ask about our no closing cost loans. Lo podemos ayudar en su propio idioma para compra y venta de propiedades y refinanciamientos.
Juice, I heard you were at a party the other day and the DJ completely destroyed the party.
That's right, Pac-Man. I was checking out his skills. They were not there. Didn't know how to MC. Lighting sucked. And guess what? There was cables showing everywhere. What's up with that?
You know what, man? Cable management is really important. And when a DJ can't talk on the mic, what's the point? A DJ really has to know how to rock the party.
He needs to MC. He needs to take control of the party. So, folks, listen closely. If you're in the market for a DJ, if you have an upcoming wedding, quinceañera, birthday party, any kind of an event where the DJ will make the difference, make sure to check us out. ESCEvents.com.
Computer repair done right. Have a virus? Is your computer too slow? Call us at 562-381-2702. Let our team handle it. We can get your computer back to normal, and with our $19.99 optimization package, your computer will be better than ever. Call 562-381-2702 or visit our website, PCSmartTeam.com.
Poor Ben is only 20 years old, but has the spine of a 7-year-old man. Ben tried medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, and even other chiropractors. Now, Ben, after only 6 weeks of care, is almost pain-free and is going back to the gym. A chiropractor is like a surgeon. You need to research and get references to see if they have a good set of hands. At the chiropractic office of Dr. Mariscal, we cater to everyone. And remember, by appointment or by chance, we're always glad to see you back. To set up an appointment, go to drmariscal.com.
Hey, Juice, when was the last time you went swimming at a friend's house?
Just the other day. Why? What's up?
Well, the other day I went to my friend's house to go swimming, but it was all green, man.
Oh, I know exactly what you need. You need to go talk to my friend Chris Anderson over at Chris Anderson Pool and Spa. He can help you out with algae, filter problems, weekly cleanings, pretty much anything to do with pools and spas.
What's that number, bro?
Give him a call at 310-500-7439. Again, the number is 310-500-7439. Hey, Pac-Man, I've got a big problem. This weekend is my brother's prom, but we can't afford to buy him a tux.
What you need to do is go see my friend over at Downey Rent-A-Tux. They've got great deals on a huge variety of outfits. Anytime I DJ a wedding or a quince, I go to Downey Rent-A-Tux and always get hooked up. So go check them out and mention EMX Radio and they'll hook you up too.
That sounds perfect. Where can I find them?
Go check them out at go2rentatux.com. That is go, the number 2, rentatux.com.